It is Tuesday, February the 4th, and it is a very big day for two of Donald Trump's major high-profile nominees for cabinet positions. This morning, the Senate Finance Committee will vote on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the head of the Department of Health and Human Services. And then later, about 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the Intelligence Committee will vote on Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence. Now, a couple important things here. These are the two most controversial Trump picks left. I would say Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So Hegseth obviously already been confirmed narrowly as the Secretary of Defense. So these are the last big two that Donald Trump needs to try to get through. And what you need to know is these committees have Republicans obviously are in the majority in the Senate, which means that they have a one-seat advantage on both of these committees. If the committee deadlocks, which means that one Republican crosses over and doesn't vote for either Gabbard or RFK Jr., it deadlocks, the vote deadlocks, it's a tie, and the person is not recommended onto the House floor for a vote. Now, there are ways around that, honestly. Mick Mulvaney in 2017, they kind of did an end around of the committee vote, but it's not great. And I don't think John Thune, who is the head of Republicans in the Senate, wants to do it. So this is a really important hurdle. Does it mean if Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr. don't get the votes in the committee that they absolutely have 0% chance of being a cabinet official? No, but man, it means they probably have an under 5% chance. So let's look at the two votes. Okay. The first is Kennedy. So the real key here is Bill Cassidy. Bill Cassidy is on the Finance Committee. He's the chairman of the Senate Health, Education, Labor Committee. He was in both of the Kennedy confirmation hearings last week. He's a doctor. He is a supporter of vaccines, and I think is skeptical about Kennedy and Kennedy's views on vaccines, his transformation to the extent it exists on vaccines. And if Kennedy votes against RFK Jr., again, that committee is going to deadlock because I don't think any Democrats voting for RFK Jr. on that committee. And that means he would not be recommended for a full floor vote. Now, why wouldn't Cassidy vote against RFK Jr.? Well, because it's Trump's pick, right? And the Make America Great Again and Make America Healthy Again movements have lined up behind Kennedy. And Cassidy is up for re-election in 2026 and is already drawing a lot of attention as someone who's too willing, in the eyes of the Republican Party, too willing to buck Donald Trump. So a vote against RFK Jr. would be another piece of evidence for a primary challenger to run and beat Cassidy. And Cassidy obviously knows that. He's not dumb. If he does vote against RFK Jr., I would say, honestly, that's probably an indicator for me that he probably isn't going to run for re-election. If he does vote for him, well, then it probably means he is going to vote for re-election. But so that's that vote. And I think Kennedy is going to make it, though not totally sure. Now, the Senate Intelligence Committee, unlike the Finance Committee, they vote behind closed doors. Again, one seat majority. And Tulsi Gabbard has been someone who, from the very start, people were questioning whether she would make it. So there's a couple people on that committee. Susan Collins was one, but Collins came out and said that from Maine, that she's going to be for Gabbard. So the other two to watch, I think, are not your sort of typical ones. One is Jerry Moran from Kansas, who's a very down-the-line conservative, and the other is Todd Young from Indiana. Now, Young has been more willing, he's kind of like Cassidy, more willing to kind of buck Trump, although not in high-profile ways, and this would be a high-profile way. But if either of the two of them, Young or Moran, vote against Gabbard again, it's a tie, and she's not going to make it because I can't see any Democrat on that committee voting for her. So, big day for Donald Trump's nominees, the biggest day we've had yet for Donald Trump's nominees. If both get through committee, I think both will very likely be confirmed. If they don't, if one doesn't, I think that's probably the end. Like I said, about a 5% chance maybe of the procedural rules being tweaked so that they could get a full vote on the Senate floor. So we'll see, but this is Judgment Day. Stay tuned.